Robert is involved in some of the tasks that he's been assigned on his honeydew list. And he's asked quite a few. And he saved the most challenging, perhaps, for the final entry on his list. He has been asked to assemble a ceiling fan. Now, one thing about Robert is he knows his way around the toolbox. He's familiar with installing and building because, of course, he's married, and so that comes with the territory. And so he thinks to himself, I know that I'm able to put this ceiling fan up. I know that I'm able to assemble it. So it shouldn't be too difficult. And then he opens the box. He begins to look at the parts and the pieces, and he quickly realizes that there's something else that's going to have to be involved. And so as he is looking through the box, he notices that there is a neatly folded sheet of paper. And when he examines that sheet of paper, he comes to find out that it is the instructions. And so Robert is relieved as he unfolds this sheet of paper, and he carefully looks over all of the parts and the pieces. He identifies where each one goes, and he begins to assemble this ceiling fan. And as you might imagine, he's quite happy with the end result. The ceiling fan is assembled. He is working in the living room, and so he's able to complete that particular task from the honeydew list. And so now he is free the rest of the afternoon to do as he pleases. So now, why am I using this particular illustration for today's thought, for today's discussion? It's simple, because there are many and various things in life that individuals enter into, and they have absolutely no idea what they're doing because they haven't read the instructions. They look at a situation and say, I know what to do here, or I understand what's required of me here, and they have not read the instructions, right? So what are some of those situations where individuals would do well to read the instructions? One of the main things that I've noticed, especially that's very, very popular now on social media, is the notion that marriage is a flawed institution. Yes, marriage is a situation that no man with all of his faculties would enter into. Now, is that a notion that comes from being aware of what marriage originally was, or is that a notion that comes from modern marriage, what we've turned marriage into? Well, you would never know unless you read the instructions. Now, on this particular podcast, we usually don't discuss things of a spiritual nature, because I think that that's highly personal and very sacred. But in this particular instance, I have to go into those things just a little bit, and I want you to bear with me, okay? Really, the makeup of marriage is something that, when you look at it, there has to be some sort of instructions for it, because it's been around almost as long as man has been around. So when you look at the husband and the wife, what are their duties? What is the husband supposed to do? What is the wife supposed to do? What are they supposed to do together? You'll never know unless you read the instructions, right? And then when children are introduced to that marriage, well, what's required of the children? How do the parents successfully raise their children to be assets to society? Once again, you have to consult the instructions, because modern marriage, if you look at it, over 70% of marriages end in divorce. That's a staggering statistic to think about. It really is. Whereas just 40 years ago, we were at a marriage rate that was over 80%. So now, what made the difference? It's simple. individuals in time past read the instructions. They were familiar with the structure of families. They were familiar with what made families work, and they were familiar with the characteristics of families. They could recognize those things. And they were aware of the qualities that they needed to bring in order to make marriage successful. What I'm saying is simple. I'm saying that the reason why we're seeing a decline in marriage, the reason why we're seeing so many divorces, is because individuals are unaware of what they're supposed to be doing within marriage. They come to marriage thinking one way. In actuality, they need to be focused on something totally different. To give you an example, a lot of the marriages that end in divorce end because of financial difficulties, right? And so to remedy that situation, many people base who they marry, who they choose to court, primarily on that individual's status. How much money they have. Are they well known? What kind of lifestyle do they generate? They base their thoughts and opinions on marriage solely on how much money an individual has, right? And that is a fleeting thought, because we've seen it, especially here lately, that your financial situation can have a reversal in a matter of moments. You could have everything that you could possibly want now, and then 10 minutes from now, you are absolutely broke. So that's not the way to handle it. It's not. And if you ask me, those individuals are assembling a ceiling fan without looking at the instructions. What's another example? Manhood. You hear so many times that individuals are alpha male, or they're sigma male, or they're beta males. And a lot of times there are points within those discussions that are relevant, that are helpful. But now, as far as a man is concerned and what he should be doing and how he should be conducting himself, you have to read the instructions. Or else, how will you know? How will you know that the type of person that you're aspiring to be is one that will benefit you and those around you? You won't know unless you read the instructions. And so I encourage anybody, if you find yourself in a new situation, as long as we've been around as human beings, there is absolutely an abundance of information that can help you to become whatever it is you desire to become. If you want to be married, there's information that can help you to be married successfully. If you want to be the type of man that can be admired, there's information that can help you do that. Now, personally, I aspire to traditional values, biblical values, and I have found that they never steer me wrong. You might find your value somewhere else, but regardless of where you find your values, make sure that those values help you to become the best version of yourself, right? So, what's the thought for today? Read the instructions, because you'll notice that even in the instructions, that there are steps. There's a progression. There are things that you have to do in order to reach your goal. And just like Robert, if you follow those steps, if you follow that progression, if you're patient, then you'll be able to reach the goals that you have set. Why? Once again, because you followed the instructions. All right, so that's the thought for this morning, man. I wanted to I wanted to put a little bit of thought into what we were talking about, a little bit more effort, because I'm noticing that there are a lot of trends on social media that absolutely serve no purpose. They don't serve a purpose. People want to paint marriage as being some kind of prison. Well, if you enter into it with the wrong motive, then it may become a prison for you. If you enter into it unwilling to do the things that are going to make it successful, then it may be a prison for you. But that's all a choice that the individual makes. And so we encourage you, whatever you do, whatever your desire is, whatever your goals, Make sure that you are doing the things that are necessary to reach them, and at the same time you're maintaining your positivity. Okay, so you know the way we end this: do something positive today, and I guarantee you it'll come back to you in greater measure. It always does. That's something I can guarantee. Well, you know we love you. Peace.